It's great to be joined again by Scott Shepard, a former Grand Dragon of the KKK in Tennessee, now a anti-racism campaigner. He has turned his back on the KKK, and this is Scott's second appearance on the program. Scott, you know what? I always wonder, Grand Dragon, Grand Wizard, like what are these ranks? It sounds like a tabletop board game to me.
Well, basically, it's names that they've used. Of course, Grand Dragon would be compatible with like the governor of the state of Tennessee. And of course, you got the Grand Wizard. That'd be compatible to compared to the president of the United States. It's just a list of terms that given the officers and stuff from the ranks on down to go by chain of command.
So wizards are higher than dragons in the KKK
Yes,
hierarchy.
the Grand Wizard, or sometimes called Grand Wizard, Imperial Wizard, is and National Director is the top level. He's just like the president.
All right.
I mean, not just like the president, but that's the rank.
Right. It's not exactly like being president of the United States, but maybe in their mind it sort of is, right? So, we've
Exactly.
seen with the Donald Trump campaign so many different white separatist and white supremacist groups have pointed out, for a variety of reasons, that Donald Trump is inspiring them to vote and to get out and try to support Trump's candidacy. We've seen David Duke say that Donald Trump is the guy. What do you see as someone who was in the KKK at one point as what is the appealing element of Trump's rhetoric to these individuals? Why do they like him?
Well, basically, I think it's basically when I was in Texas for the film fest with Daryl Davis, who familiar with, we were sitting down and talking. And of course, Donald Trump is hitting on all these issues, and of course, I can't say Donald Trump's racist per se
Right.
or not, but he's using these terms, issues, and stuff that the KKK and all white supremacist groups have hit on for years and years and years. And I'll say this: if it wasn't Donald Trump, it would be someone else. And then, of course, if you remember Patrick Buchanan,
Yeah.
he was a big presidential campaign that was supported by the white supremacist movement.
Yeah, Buchanan's the last guy that was sort of able to coalesce these elements of the extreme right into something that was a group of people supporting a sort of alternative type of candidate. But I don't think Buchanan came close to sort of being the catalyst that Donald Trump is for getting the support. I mean, we talked about Stormfront. The Stormfront website had to upgrade its servers in part to deal with the increased web traffic they're getting because of Trump's candidacy. We've seen a resurgence from the Daily Stormer, which recently sent all sorts of anti-Semitic faxes to universities around the country. Is your sense that Donald Trump's views on immigration from Latin American countries have hit a nerve? Is it his proposed ban on Muslim travel? I mean, what specifically do you think it is?
Specifically, I think it has to do with the atmosphere that we're in today. Of course, when Patrick Buchanan ran, there wasn't a whole lot of the terrorism going on then that's going on now.
Mm.
And I think this atmosphere of the entire nation and world, whatever, is just kind of people are more angry and they're picking up on these issues a lot more. And of course, Donald Trump's campaign and David Duke's campaign that they ran in the past do run parallel. These are the issues that the Klan, white supremacist groups and stuff pick up to, try to legitimize themselves to make them look more into the mainstream of politics. And they use these different candidates like that to, for self-gain. That's some of their programs, the illegal immigration and things like that. But that's where they jump on these bandwagons of these mainstream politicians that are hitting on these same issues. And I think it has to do with anger and fear.
You mentioned something earlier that I want to go back to because I've been talking about it also. You said you can't really say whether Donald Trump is a racist. And I've been saying for a while that I don't know that Donald Trump even really believes half of what he's saying. I don't think he expected to get nearly as far as he did in this presidential campaign. One really interesting thing is that Donald Trump's daughter has converted to Judaism. Her husband is Jewish. Donald Trump's grandkids, many of them, are Jewish. You would think that this would be a huge turnoff to groups like the KKK and other white separatist and white supremacist groups. Why do they seem to still support Trump in spite of the fact that so much of his own family is Jewish?
Well, I believe it's because, just like I said, Trump's hitting on all these issues that the Klan and other white supremacist groups have used. You know, they it wouldn't matter. Like I said, it wouldn't matter if it was Donald Trump or anyone else. I know the Jewish issue was out there, and you would think that they're gonna would like to distance themselves from Trump because of that. But again, they're latching on to someone that's in the mainstream public right now, and Donald Trump is, and they're just they're opportunists. They'll overlook these issues for self gain. They don't care about Donald Trump and his Jewish connections or anti-Jewish connections. They're just looking for a opportunity to jump on the bandwagon to make yourself look more legitimate.
Hey, Scott, when you were in the KKK, were there ever any candid conversations with the other, be it dragons or wizards or underlings or whoever it was at the time, where you guys kind of candidly said, yeah, I don't actually really think that the Jews are bad people or black people are bad people or whatever, but you sort of said this is the sort of the talking points that we're using and subscribing to? Were there candid conversations of doubt? Or was it, no, if you're in this group, you'd better express support 100% of the time?
Well, pretty much you have to express it 100% of the time. At the time also, years ago, I didn't really get into the anti-Jewish movement because it wasn't an issue with me that, about Jewish people. I was raised up with Jewish people and always had a good relationship and good friendships and still friends with them today because we grew up together. But, I was a candidate in Tennessee for governor and state representative, and we did. I know this is what the people do. I did the same thing. I jumped right on those issues that Donald Trump is using in other mainstream candidates. It's just Donald Trump is coming out and saying boldly and out loud what's being said behind closed doors. And I don't care if the Republican Party wants to act like they're going to, disavow Donald Trump or whatsoever. He is saying what's being said in the smoke-filled back rooms.
Did you ever get the sense when you were in the KKK that there's this common refrain you often hear from groups like the KKK? It's not so much that we're against other races, but we want to defend and support the white race, right? It's a sort of white pride movement as opposed to an anti-non-white movement. When we hear that talking point, do people in the KKK believe that, or do they understand that it's just sort of a way to make the movement more palatable from a PR perspective? Not very effective, but is that sort of understood to be nonsense, or do people really believe that the KKK isn't anti-other races, it's just pro-white?
Well, I think you pretty much hit the nail on the head. It's just, it's an image thing, and they use that second, example that you use. They say they're not anti-black or whatever, and then of course they're just saying they're pro-white, want equal rights for whites, and they believe blacks should have equal rights also. But behind closed doors, they're using the N-word and making jokes, against people of color and different religions. So yeah, it's a smoke screen. It's a smoke screen. They really, but and they do believe in separation of the races and the right to, the self, determination. But they're against black people totally. I mean, that's just what's being said in back rooms, not up front.
There's, I don't know if you've seen the TV series Sons of Anarchy, but there is a sort of storyline in that where the main biker gang turns out that they have someone in their ranks who is part black, right? And if it were to be found out, that would be really bad for this half black guy. Do you have any stories or recollections from when you were in the KKK of sort of either suspicions or it comes to light that someone who is in the group actually is partly non-white?
Well, yes, and I'll the most important example I can give you is myself. You know, they say that the KKK and these white supremacist groups believe in a pure race, totally 100% white blood. You know, no mixing or whatsoever. Technically, I wasn't even supposed to be a member of the Klan or allowed to be a member of the Klan because I got Native Indian in me. I'm not. I'm
So
not
you're
100%.
part Native American, and you knew that all along.
Oh, I knew it all along, right? And it just, you know, I just never. I guess I never gave it any thought, but you know, now I can. But I think there's a lot of those situations like that now. I'm not the only one.
Yeah,
But
no, I
yes,
bet.
I'm definitely not pure white. And you know, who knows? Did the DNA? No telling what might pop up in me. But you know, they don't give you a DNA test to join the Klan of white supremacist groups.
Right. Yeah. Maybe that'll be the next step in the application process. Who knows? They're gonna have to tighten that up a little bit. If you can't have dragons and wizards who aren't completely white, that's for sure. Scott Shepard, former Grand Dragon of the KKK in Tennessee. Scott, it's always so great to talk to you. And tomorrow we'll be having Daryl Davis on, a friend of Scott's who has produced an incredible documentary film. And thank you so much, Scott, for putting us in touch with him.
Well, I appreciate it. I think you'll really enjoy talking to Daryl, and please tell him hello for me. I'll be talking with him, and I really, really enjoyed being able to be a part of that documentary myself. It really meant a lot, and I think it needs to be shown completely across the country, and you know, after all these film fests, because it really strikes a nerve, and it's a unique way that Daryl's approaching these issues and trying to tear down the barriers of racism.